Hello everyone! In this update, we're going to be talking about tropical trouble in the Gulf setting up a dangerous flood threat, as well as the first signs of La Nina starting as I walk you through the next 10 days. So if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. So let's get right to it. This is September the 9th, and we've got a lot going on in the tropics here. We had Mindy that came ashore last night as a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm, got named right before landfall. That continues as a tropical depression. There's Larry going to be safely out to sea, but they do have hurricane watches out for St. John's, Newfoundland, going to be impacting them coming up on Saturday. There's another system coming off the coast of Africa that has a 50% chance of developing. It's probably going to be named Nicholas, but it has no chance of impacting land whatsoever. But my main concern is down here in the Caribbean, where the NHC has highlighted this feature. We had talked about this feature in here to Central America. It's got a 20% chance of developing currently right now. But it's going to be definitely getting its act together over the coming days and entering the Gulf of Mexico as we get into late this weekend. But yeah, overnight, we had Tropical Storm Olaf that just got named a storm just yesterday, and it exploded overnight. Now it's a formidable tropical storm expected to be a hurricane later on today. But look what happens. I mean, it's moving north-northwest, heading directly towards Cabo San Lucas. They're expected to get 3 to 6 inches of rain, upwards to 10 inches in spots, with hurricane force winds coming up on the overnight hours on Friday, going into Saturday. So it looks pretty disastrous coming up for Cabo on the day, later on the day on Friday into Saturday. And as it continues moving off, this will shift off well away from land as we go through time. So let's take a look at the overall 500 millibar over the next 10 days to kind of give you a feel of what's happening. Here's the ridge out west. It's going to be building predominantly for much of the week. There's the trough today on September the 9th. We had all that instability with the cold front, with Mindy coming ashore. Well, all that rain up the East Coast last night, that continues. There's Larry going to be shifting off, well off land here. And there's Olaf that's going to be building, going to be impacting Cabo coming up on the day later on into the night on Friday. As we get into Sunday, man, fire up the grill. The ridge just amplifies and deepens for much of the U.S. as well above average temperatures for this time of year. And then as we go into that Tuesday time frame, that's when we start looking at to the Gulf. This ridge starts to break down a little bit. This amplifies the convergence underneath, and we do feel that setup into the Gulf that's going to be in the Caribbean right now will be entering the Gulf and going to be bringing some prolific rains into the Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast regions as we start to see subtle changes in the Pacific Northwest with these active troughs setting up that's going to be digging in with the ridge building out, creating that kind of funnel effect that you'd like to see in a La Nina type pattern setting up. And I think that's actually going to be coming to fruition by the time we get into next weekend. We've been talking about a La Nina coming for a while, and this is the first signs that I'm definitely seeing a big pattern shift in the upper levels with the Enzo transitioning to a weak La Nina. And I think the rains will start to come back for the Pacific Northwest in the extended range. It won't be until next weekend. So, and this ridge just really amplifies and starts to deepen over southeast Canada. So let's take you through day by day. Here's today for Thursday, September the 9th. There's Mindy that came ashore last night. Going to be coming up the East Coast. We still got a lot of heavy rains with the compounding moisture from Mindy, as well as the cold front that's going to be shifting, moving off the East Coast. But we still got some very heavy rains along that East Coast region. There's Olaf, will continue to move north-northwest today. And as it's moving north-northwest, it sends out the outflow, and all this would be just very isolated rain showers for much of the west here. This is not going to amount to much, but at least it kind of gives you the overflow of what Olaf is going to bring, as long as the winds are shifting, north northwest for the time being. So as we go into Friday, that's when it's going to be impacting Cabo, but it actually makes the shift. So it's still going to be lifting north northwest, still bringing the rain showers well inland, at least sporadic. It's not much. This is just subtle signs of some rain for the Pacific Northwest, as that cold front will be shifting all the way off the coast by then. So once it shifts off the coast, man, it really starts to clear out back behind it for all the regions to the north of it. As we go into that Saturday time frame, September the 11th, that same cold front will continue to shift, and we really start to clear out for much of the U.S. You see Olaf making that shift off into the west, not north northwest, now west. So once it does that, it turns off the taps for much of the Pacific Northwest, with no more sporadic isolated shower activity, as a lot of our attention will turn to the Gulf, with all that instability that could be coming in from Central America, going to be entering the Gulf by then. So as we go into that Sunday time frame, there's the temperatures. I mentioned fire up the grill. Yeah, there's a lot of heat underneath this ridge, and much of the country is going to be above average, if not well above average, as we start to see subtle signs of some rain shower starting to enter in the picture well to the south, with all that instability is going to be coming in from the Gulf. So as we transition into Monday, September 13th timeframe, again, the ridge will continue to build over the top. As this builds over the top, that actually helps amplify the system underneath, causes that convergence, causes the lowering of pressures in the Gulf of Mexico, and it actually will help intensify the system into the Gulf that's going to be coming ashore. Not just wind per se, I'm talking rain, a very heavy rain. So I'm deeply concerned about this system, as we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern shift, starting to enter some cooler conditions off into the Pacific Northwest, and to Oregon, and to Washington, as well as Oregon. That'll be on Monday. So as we transition, let's look at the ensemble members for that particular system that has a 20% chance of developing into the right now in the Caribbean. That's going to be shifting north northwest, and a lot of ensemble members are not too intense on intensity from this system. It's not the dynamics is not this system. It's not going to be a full-blown hurricane or a major hurricane or anything like that. My concern from this system is a prolific rainmaker, and it's going to be extended over probably a 4-day period. And this could be a widespread event, especially along the coast into Texas as well as Louisiana, as we go into late this week and especially early next week. So let's take you through this. Here's Tuesday, right? So this is Tuesday, September the 14th. We start to look at the precipitable water index values, and man, they really start to elevate. And this is deeply concerning. Not only do you see the reds, but you start seeing some blues showing up. Now, remember, these are coastal communities. I mean, these are already got high dew points along the coast. You got a lot of warm water along the coast. You haven't been hit with a tropical type system as of yet this season. So there's no upwelling or anything to work with. You've got convergence. You've got the ridge building over the top, which lowers the pressures underneath. This just amplifies the rain along the coast. So yeah, it's concerning to see 3 and 4 inch rainfall potential per hour along the coast. So this could be a dangerous flash flooding setup as we go through early next week. So let's take you into Wednesday. See, Wednesday, again, you're seeing this is a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday potentially type of event. So it's a compounding effect. And we're talking Texas, we're talking Louisiana. I don't think this is going to shift and go into Florida like the last system did. This setup is funneling into Texas, into Louisiana, and especially along the coast. So that is where I'm deeply concerned about a dangerous flash flooding setup over an extended period of time. So here's Wednesday's anomalies for September the 15th, right? So you still got the ridge over the top. You still got the ridge for much of the US. It's going to be warm for a good 7 days for much of the country, at least above average for this time of year. Underneath, you got a little bit of a weakness in the ridge underneath that allows that instability to come up from the south as we start to see subtle changes as that trough will dig in into the Pacific Northwest, bringing those below average anomalies for Washington and Oregon again. So as we go into Thursday, that transition just deepens even further. We start to see those little bit colder conditions entering the picture, not just off the West Coast, but now we're talking Idaho, we're talking Montana regions, as the ridge will continue to dominate for much of the country. The only cool spot in town would be the Pacific Northwest. There's not much rain under this troughiness yet, but the one coming to the north back behind it will be the pattern change that we've been looking for the LaNina type setup that I've been trying to pinpoint for the last month and a half here, that it looks like I'm starting to see signs that looks like the LaNina is going to be starting by next weekend. So let's take you through this and take a look at the surface map. By Friday, we start to see the rains to come back in the Pacific Northwest. It's been extremely dry in this region. I don't have to tell you that. Well, yeah, so the rains actually come back for Washington and Oregon and Idaho, right? So this is definitely start to see a sign of the LaNina starting to come back as we start to dry out into California. Of course, it's been dry in California. Unfortunately, with the La Nina starting, it's going to continue to remain dry. You're starting to be drying out in the southwest regions as the monsoon will start to shut down, and we're starting to see the transition. You have Olaf. You could possibly have another storm behind Olaf, but once we get past that storm, the Pacific is really going to start to be shutting down in a big way. And I think a lot of this is going to be shifting over until the Atlantic side. And with the La Nina starting, I do feel it's really going to be ramping up, and we're setting the stage for a pretty active October. I can probably tell you that right now. So let's take a look at the rain that's coming up over the next 10 days. And this is definitely my concern, because every update with this system just continues to push higher and higher rain amounts. And with us, the dynamics that's got to work with in the upper levels, I'm definitely deeply concerned about the Texas coast region, especially into Louisiana here. We could be looking at double-digit totals. I mean, this model goes up to 2 feet, guys, and this is going to be along the coast, right? A lot of times what happens is you create like this, what this called a shield. So it doesn't have the south flow, the Gulf flow. So this rain's only going to be able to go as far north as it can. It's going to be shutting down. You got the ridge over the top, compressing the rain amounts along the coast. So I'm not, for certain that much of this rain is going to get into our interior regions in Texas. This is my main concern, is the coastal areas, especially from, all along Texas and Louisiana. This is the bullseye area right here that I'm deeply concerned for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe for extensive flooding in this area. So let's expand the view. So as we expand the view and show you the whole country, there's the rain system down to the south, and there's the rains that come back in the Pacific Northwest. And this is more or less a classic type La Nina type pattern setting up as the southern jet will start to tend to shut down, right? The polar jet lifts, and then you start to amplify. You got all that warm water off all the warm water off the Pacific coastline here. That creates and amplifies this system and puts the rain into the interior regions. So this is a classic La Nina type setup. The rains start to come back for the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. Unfortunately, it continues to remain dry in Southern California and Nevada, as well as we'll start seeing a drying out period. The monsoon will start to shut down. We'll start to see less storms in the Pacific, and we'll start to see more storms into the Atlantic side. And so, yeah, for the next 10 days, my concern along the coast is because much of the region is going to be amplified with the ridge for much of the week. And then we have subtle changes to the north with some heavier rains well to the north. And then, but mainly the coastal communities is what I'm deeply concerned about as a dangerous flash flood threat will be setting the stage from Sunday to Wednesday of next week. So, hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.